Welcome to another shitcoin session here, folks. Uh, yeah, this is meant to be a little more informal from like other shows. We kind of wanted to open it up to everyone to kind of shoot the shit about anything really in the meme coin world. We do have some stuff we're at least on the agenda to get the ball rolling, but yeah, obviously none of this is financial advice. Very high risk industry here in crypto and certainly in shitcoins. So definitely do your own research, make your own decisions. But yeah, Jinzo, how you doing, man?
Yeah, bro. So weak. You know how it is. Some ups and downs, but overall winning. So that's good. How about you?
Yeah, I feel you too. Thankfully, got saved yesterday with the Flavia stuff, which we'll definitely talk about. But I have not been really been doing good outside of that. Yeah, round tripped a bunch of my ape chain stuff. Not great, but here we are, ready to get into it for sure. So here to kind of share the wins and share the losses, and hopefully we can all learn a bit.
Yeah, it's important to see both sides of it, and that's how we are in here. We're transparent. We're gonna talk about our wins just like we do our losses, because there's learning experience in both. And it's not just about like uh like touting our wins here. We really want to make sure that people understand that we have our losses too, and that what I mean. Rules are important, and that that's the only way you're gonna get ahead is if you really stick to your rules and stuff. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I think we can start off. Try a new little segment out. Just go over biggest win of the past week and then biggest loss of the past week, and also kind of like what you played right in the win, what you learned from the lost. If not loss or like a fumble, maybe like round trip, which is probably gonna be mine. But yeah, man, what was your biggest win the past week? Was it Flavia?
Think we're gonna be aligned, yeah, on both. I think we're gonna have the same talking points here. Flavio was
Oh,
definitely yeah. It's definitely the one that got me back in the green. After just like you, a rough ape chain. Like we were already ape community members, but now we're devout community members in that chain. So, but for Flavia, yeah, just it got posted in here by Dive Bar's rule, just the contract address, right? So I didn't look much into it. I was talking to other people in chat. It came up. I didn't have any info. I didn't really look into it, but then it got posted again a few minutes later, and it was already like at 15 million or something like that. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is a coin I got to take serious, right? So started digging into it, and it was really, it was quick. I was quick to find like that the guy was legit, and he's worked on AI in the past. He sold a company, an AI company to Dapper Labs in 2021. So for me, it was a no brainer. Really, you can tell that the guy wanted to maybe really make a real AI coin and not just some of the fluff we've been seeing lately with a lot of the fake ones. And so I aped with size at around 14 mil, 13, 14 mil, and that kind of saved my week just because, I've been kind of sidelining myself in this meta just because it's been so messy and I know a lot of it's fake and you know what I mean? It's a lot of PvP. It's been kind of, you know, it's been hard to sit on the sidelines because a lot of coins have been running to the 10 plus million range, and it seemingly easy to make money. But if you ask people that have been playing this market, they've been playing maybe over trading and getting wrecked. But yeah, for me, it was really Slavia. I'm still holding now. I only sold about a quarter, which was my initial plus a bit of profit, and I have a big bag left. So that one there saved me. What about you? Guessing similar?
Yeah, definitely right there with you. I'm gonna share my screen to help a little bit with some context too, if anyone wants to follow along. But yeah, I'm similar. I had a really nice win on Go, which I shared, and I ended up fumbling that like for because it went a lot higher. But still, and then after that, I think it's hard because there's a lot of emotion involved with like you see all these other stuff pumping, you see Go continue to pump, and like you're not in anymore. So I think the natural thing that a lot of people do, and I succumb to this too, is like chase the betas, and it certainly has worked a good amount on different coins if you're able to get in early, and they run up a ton. I just like I played it so poorly. Like I got in early on some betas, and then I ended up selling too early. Then they like 50 to 100x. It's just like it's tough. So I like well really wanted to stay away from AI coins. Um, but I think I just kind of saw this one floating around, and it was different than like a normal beta where like someone random spinned up this like AI dev or whatever. This is like a legitimate, super legitimate person who's doxxed and who, I mean, I just looked into the background story. I mean, they had a whole AI influencer company, and that was like they started that in like 2018 or something like that. So they've been doing it for years now. It's not like a brand new thing, and it caught on a ton. They got 2.5 million followers on Instagram, on the main one. And then he was like savvy enough to, that wasn't just the only account. They had several different AI influencer accounts, and then was savvy enough to raise money first from Sequoia Capital at like over like $100 million valuation at the time of raise. Which Sequoia is a really big, like popular VC firm too, like a high quality one. And then after that, they sold, um, for an undisclosed amount. We're not really sure how much the sale was for, to Dapper, but I'm assuming it was, in hundreds of millions, probably a bit more than what they raised at, if I had to guess. I'm not really sure. So I mean, nine-figure payday basically from for this guy, all due to like the AI that he's built and marketed, which is, I think, is a really important part, that he understands that point of thing. Like he knows how to like find a big audience. So my opinion, like those facts were all like super bullish. And the fact that the AI itself is supposed to be more like self controlled, I guess, than what Goat is, where Goat has like a human like approving all the tweets and stuff. The AI itself and the human is like controlling the wallet, I'm pretty sure. Has custody of the wallet. And like this case, like the AI is gonna be doing all the tweets themselves, and the AI is gonna be um like controlling the wallet itself too. So I think like all those things combined, like it made it seem like this is like almost better than what Go is. I still think it's likely gonna trade as a beta, even if it is like technologically superior or whatever, and like has a better backing, whatever. Just because Go has a pretty significant first mover advantage, but I think it still have like a pretty high um, upside, as far as the coin goes, just based on what's behind it. So yeah, I'd say like all those things were kind of like my factor in like really aping once I like learned about it.
He was also in the music industry. I read up on him, and he was like a DJ or some sort of artist, or maybe a rapper. I can't exactly remember, but he's well connected and well respected from what I'm seeing. Like it's just not, it's not somebody just looking to pump and dump and walk away. He has a reputation to uphold here.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, and just the stuff alongside that, like I've just gotten more bullish just by like watching him operate. Before that was like before I'd even like really seen like him like talk about stuff, but just watch him operate, like he kind of understands it. Like he's like talking about how he's like buying all of like the huge whale supply like over the counter from them instead of them like market dumping and stuff. Like the fact that he's like not only has, obviously I'm sure he has a allocation. I know the bot itself does. Uh, Chelsea Hop. Sorry, where was I? There's so many hot mics on these shows recently. Um,
You were
I
saying
kind of
how
lost. I
he,
like lost my train of thought. Sorry.
you were saying how he, you got more bullish because you saw he was interacting the right way, and you saw that he was, let's say, a bit of a degen, kind of like us, where he knew the market. And he was trying to also buy up the whales that were instead of the
Yeah.
market dumping and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of like a Chad move right there from a dev to be like, yeah, fuck it, like I'll buy your supply myself. Like I'm sure he already has plenty of supply that he got for like nothing, but just saying that, like, yeah, I'm willing to even like double, triple down on my own project and buy up like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, if not like seven figures worth of supply. Just the fact that, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's like very rich from his sale to Dapper, so he can probably afford it. I think that's like super bullish to me as well. So I've really only got more bullish as I followed along. I think the only thing is like the only risk right now is like the execution risk of like we haven't seen the bot like even really in action. All we've seen is it like verify its deck screener apparently. Um, so we're kind of just like, I feel like waiting. I think the next catalyst is like once it actually like starts to do stuff. Because the Twitter account hasn't really done anything, the Flavia account yet. So yeah.
That's the only negative that I see also, or one of the negatives is that it's not really doing anything yet. So there's time for it to trend sideways or drop a bit before anything big happens. Like we saw with Forest, where everybody was so like, oh, we want this coin because it's tied to I forgot which company, but then it never really did anything, and it dropped down from 20 mil all the way down to like 4 or 5 mil. So that's the only risk I see, is that it can just go dead for a couple of days. But he seems like he knows how to attract attention and maintain it. So we'll see. Like he was even hinting at some lore when she mentioned something about a document, and he said, "No, we don't talk about the document yet." So there's things that he's able to probably do to keep attention.
Yeah, and he like tweeted out about how he like sees all the KOL DMs and he says he's not giving anyone allocation. He's not doing promotions. You can buy off the marketplace. Uh yeah, so I like how he's going about it. It seems pretty clear. He knows how to like run a successful project. Kind of knows what the people like too with his messaging. So I'm not too worried. It's kind of just waiting. Right. I think the biggest risk is like too much of a delay for getting the Flavia thing online. So hopefully we see something today in regards to that, or I could see it bleeding more if we don't get any like action from the actual account.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys have looked into it, but I forget who it was in chat, so apologies for forgetting their name. But if you guys use Meteora, it's actually pretty sick. It's like DLMM, so it's a dynamic liquidity market maker. So you basically can put in Solana and then Flavia, and you basically just earn money if it chops sideways. So I've been trying to get up to speed, keep up with these smart whales in the chat, but it seems like a decent way to like play sideways action because definitely seems like at least until some of those catalysts come out, it's sort of at the top of the range. I love the like catalyst you talk about, Jake, with him buying it and making Chad move. So I'm definitely bullish on Flavia, but I feel like just trying to collect some fees in the time being is a good way to stay active.
Yes, sir. That's smart. I know Brian Dubb does that a lot with for his hedges. He'll buy a coin and then um he'll market make it, or he'll put it in a liquidity pool if it's like a high volume one. It seems like it's gonna range a bit. It's probably a good time to do that right now. I bet we probably do range a little bit in between like 70 and 40 or so, I bet.
Yeah, the key is definitely small ranges, but if you want at some point I can screen share here and show you the high level overview of Meteora for people if there's interest. Um, definitely start out on their Discord because there's like a lot of videos they have started, but it's pretty nice because you can just sort of search for any meme coin. And essentially, the newer the token, the better you're going to earn with fees. I will say this like is not a substitute for buying the coin. So like you'll make money just holding something if it goes crazy. Like you're not going to make as much from fees as you would just like buying goat. But if you're buying something towards the top of a range or you want to scale into it, there's definitely some like pretty nice strategies that you can implement to just make some money passively. So again, I'm just been like trying this out over the past couple of days, so I'm still doing this relatively small. But you can see here, this is like the 24-hour fee that you're expected to make. So for some of these, you can get like a 200% return, and it seems really high, but the reality is like you're not going to be in range this entire time. So you can just pick whichever these are. There's like obviously advantages to ones that have higher TVL because more people are going to use this liquidity pool, but some of the smaller ones can gain more fees. So probably just pick this one in between here. And their UI at Meteor is like absolutely sick. So basically, you go in here, shows you have no liquidity available right now. You can add position. So right now, I just have a lot of Flavia, not a lot of Soul. But what's nice about this is you can actually just one-sided liquidity pooling. So I can just do Flavia, and then you can adjust basically what you want your ranges to be. So essentially, I would maybe want to in as the price is going up here. Just put Soul in here because it's a little bit easier to visualize. But this is basically saying, like, from a Soul perspective, as down I would be getting into it. So I can set my range, which is pretty much saying like as the price drop, let's say 15%, all of my Solana would go into Flavia, so it will go down to 15. If it drops 15%, I will then get off Flavia. And then 25%, this is like range to be scaling into Solana. So at that point, if Flavia goes up 25% for where it's at now, it would be all Solana at that point. And you're basically just providing liquidity. And the tighter you make these ranges on the bins, so like you'll see number of bins here, the tighter you make this range, the more you're actually earning. But the UI is just super good because it'll actually show you where your liquidity is going. So for a lot of other LPs, it's just like completely evenly distributed. But you can see here, you can pick like different shapes in order to, decide where you put your liquidity. But for this one, you just do like spot, but it'll show you if you go over it, like here in this bin, 6% of your soul, and you can just adjust it as needed. So like you can pick a really tight range if you think we're going to chop around, 40, 50 mil a lot. If you think it's going to be bigger, you can do a wider range, but you'll earn less fees overall. So I'll just do like a tight range for now. Just put that in and then add liquidity. And then it's going to take my Flavia. It's going to take my Solana. So I'd put that in, and now it's just creating a liquidity position. And then as that's open and it chops around, you get like fees here and you can just earn that. But I did it yesterday and I earned like 30% fees in about 3.5 hours. So nothing crazy, and haven't really scaled it up yet, but it's cool. Definitely wanted to share that and add it to people's tool belts there. Something to look into for sure.
Sick. Thanks for sharing. Cool. Yeah, I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, we did biggest win. All right, now we gotta do biggest fumble of the week. I know it's hard to talk about, but you know, that's how we learn. That's how we grow. Jinzo.
Oh,
What we got
you
this
can
week?
just yeah, just pick any of the random ape chain tokens that I aped, either at 3 million and it's down to 100k, or Curtis. Curtis is probably more even. I don't think that's gonna save me, but I'm pretty like that was my biggest bag, and even if I dump now, I might survive. But everything else, man, the thousands of dollars that I threw at every single coin on ape chain is just dead. That was probably my biggest fail. I mean, we all expected the masses to come in, like the apes to come in and stuff, and that didn't happen. I just feel like, what I mean? We were let down by that because, we figured maybe, hey, this is their opportunity to get in and degen a bit, and that just didn't happen. It just fell flat, and we didn't get the volume expected. And I guess it makes sense in a way, because why would they come on this chain, or even regular people? Why would they join ape chain when they're already making so much money on Sol or on whatever other chain they're playing on? So yeah, I mean, it just fell a little flat, but the future might be bright. We'll see. I mean, how much lower can we really go? Hopefully the apes and other people that are building decide to, could build on ape chain, and we get to see a pump again. So obviously I'm not going to sell here. A lot of my bags are dust, and I'm just going to hope that eventually they come back. So we'll see. What about you?
I think just in general, ape chain is one to say. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, thankfully we got in so early. Like when I got in, like I still made a profit from it, but I definitely could have made a lot bigger profit than I did. Um, I think what I'm like as looking back and like reviewing like why this failed so much. I think I should have looked a little bit more, and like tracked a little bit more of the metrics. I talked about this on Wake and Jake, and I should have just like followed my own advice. But I think a really good thing to look at is like net flows of a new chain, to see how many people are bridging in versus bridging out, and volume and transactions. And I mean, there's definitely like a stark difference, like a huge drop off on ape chain. I like didn't know about this dashboard before, but I should have like went and like seeked it out earlier. I'm gonna share it in I'll share it in shitcoin chat here, but this is a Dune dashboard of ape chain. Oh, I could probably just share my screen too. And I found out, yeah, I found on Dune. I just like searched ape chain and found it. But this is like a really telling graph right here. Ape transfers to and from ape chain. So basically what's being bridged and what's being out. And this is I'm assuming this is an ape. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think that's transaction count. I think that's volume. But if you're looking at this graph, as you can see, like on Saturday and then even on Sunday, there's a huge amount of transfers in over here, and then like immediately Sunday night, it just like absolutely goes the opposite way, where Tunya is getting bridged out. Monday, ton bridged out. Like there's like none more coming in anymore. Um, so I think like that huge of a drop off. You're like, I mean, usually you want to see a chart, and a lot of times when like you see a growing ecosystem, like the chart is starts lower and like starts to ramp up of like net transfers in because more and more people are bridging in because they're FOMOing in, and this is like the complete opposite. Like it's like everyone FOMOed right away, and then it just completely died afterwards. And I think that was something I should have learned and probably sold off my 8 bags like on Monday, like 2 days ago, basically when I saw such a big difference in this. I mean, I didn't have this chart in front of me on Monday, or else maybe I would have, but I should have like went and searched for it. That kind of like metric.
Yeah, for me, my biggest lesson is I should have just listened to my gut and did what I originally said. I've been waiting for Ape Chain to launch for months now. We knew it was coming, and I told myself this will be my big exit. I'm not waiting for anything else that apes are gonna promote, like do or anything. I think this is gonna be the last liquidity that's gonna come in, and I kind of mistimed that because I thought we were gonna have at least a week or two of like hype, right? So I told myself maybe I can pack my bags early and then kind of scale out as the week goes on, as people come in, but that never happened, bro. We just fell flat right away. So I screwed myself again when it comes to ape and the ecosystem, because I should have just done what everybody was probably hoping for. Everybody was thinking the same thing. This is gonna be my big exit from ApeCoin or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I just became a sucker, I guess, because everybody else farmed me instead, and I couldn't farm them, and it just became PvP, and I ended up holding a bunch of bags that I really should have just dumped. I had so much ape coins. Even my ape, I had like plans to sell it soon, maybe during this bull. So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Thousands of people are probably thinking the same thing. I should have front run them, and I didn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Jinzo. I feel like it's just tough though, because the comps on market cap are so low. Like Curtis touched 30 million. Definitely seemed like it was going to go back to it at some point. Seemed pretty early. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we definitely took for granted just how many people would actually bridge over to Ape Chain, and the meta was definitely with AI and still is there. So I mean, I'm with you. Like hindsight, obviously, would be nice to know, but definitely seemed like with the market being hot and only 30 mil on Curtis, like I definitely thought we were going to see 100 mil at least on something on Ape Chain. We still might, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I never anticipated it getting this low. Like it's just like it's actually pretty incredible to me how like zero people care about Ape Chain. I think maybe something I'm like thinking of is like I just follow too many people from like last bull market. And they just don't have the same type of like influence that they used to have. Because I saw people talking about Ape Chain and stuff funny on like socials and stuff, but I'm kind of now realizing that like I probably follow like the only people who would be talking about it, which are like people who were apes back then and who like bought apes and who were like big into NFTs last cycle. And maybe I like don't follow enough of um who like the people who are actually like moving the market now, especially on like the shitcoin side of things. Um yeah, so I think I thought that there was a little bit more hype for it than what there actually was, just based on my personal curated following, and that was something I think I probably needed to learn to like understand like who exactly my following is and who exactly is talking about this, and if they actually do have the reach that can benefit. But yeah, I mean I'm definitely like surprised, even without even like looking at all these much, like I'm just surprised at how like actually low these coin market caps are. Like it's like actually kind of crazy. Like even like shape whatever, like that artist L2, like that has like bigger shit coins by far than like Ape Chain does. And I thought like even with them like endorsing shit coins and stuff, like being a degenerate and stuff, like that stuff would run because it like made sense for the ecosystem, and it just didn't.
Yeah, I feel like there's a good segue to a conversation there about, you know, who do we trust in terms of the influence sphere these days? I feel like maybe that's why people like the AI narrative so much, is that it's like not a person, and maybe we have more faith in AI than we do these KOLs because we've just seen so many. But do you guys still value people on Twitter who are shilling coins, because there's definitely people who have good calls, but it seems like the track record is always like they hit one or two calls and then suddenly they're just shilling stuff they get in early, and then it's like, damn, like who do we even trust anymore off Twitter to tell us, where these coins will actually go?
I think AI is the flavor right now, but people are kind of ignoring the fact that it's still all the tweets that go out still have to be approved by a human. And I don't completely believe that it's fully autonomous and they're going to be shilling their own tokens and stuff. Like it'll still be curated to a point. So when people realize that, I think that's going to die down a little bit and it's going to become more like normalized. But yeah, I wouldn't really say I will trust more on AI than anything else just because they can be manipulated. But yeah, I think it's just realizing that every market, not every market, but every bull run is different. Every bull run has its own influencers. Every bull run has its own main character. It has its own tokens that run, and none of them have been identical. I mean, the first bull run was only Bitcoin. The second bull run had like secondary coins that came out shortly after. The third bull run was all ETH. You know what I mean? Now we're in the Solana coin and shitcoin meta. Like it's just every different the bull run has its own main focus, and we need to learn to adapt and to evolve. Because if we stay stuck looking at the past, we're never going to make money. We're going to become the XRP guys that keep touting our coin that we hope goes to billions, when in reality it's going to stay at 50 cents forever. So it's just about being always flowing, always going with the new stuff, and always moving ahead. Because your old coins will never do what the new coins could do. The attention's not there.
No, I totally agree with you, Jinzo. I think like it really is evolving meta. I mean, it always is. It's just interesting because I feel like there's so many shill groups. Like I know POW is really popular this cycle. Obviously, Ansem was popular last cycle. It just seems like inevitable that at those like levels of reach, those people become, cabal, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know how that's really working, how many people are involved, but did you guys see Sharpay today? That one apparently was funny that Zach announced or like showed the pitch deck that was launching at the token, and it's just interesting to see, like, I don't know how that's going to play out with that pitch deck being leaked, but it really seems like these pumps on that kind of thing is so much more coordinated than maybe we thought.
Yeah, yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, that stuff's been going on for a while. That's not. I would say that's not super new. Like, there's a lot of cabal coins like that. But it is good to see Zach like unveiling it more behind the scenes. Apparently, too, like it's not always like all those people are involved. I'm sure some of them are for sure, but like I think I saw some comments from someone on there is like they like didn't get any allo, but but they're just using their name to pump the token too, which I'm sure happens as well. But yeah, you just got to be careful of a lot of stuff. I mean, like, especially these like manufactured memes, like Sharpay. Like, there's so many like this that they just like create a meme all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then it pumps like an insane amount right away. That's pretty much always like an automatic, like obvious like KOL cabal coin. If it's like a brand new meme and with like ready to go art or whatever, and it's like not based on anything um outside of crypto, then it's pretty much always going to be like a cabal type coin if it runs a ton right away.
Yeah, well said. I will say I do really like some of these meme coins coming out of Truth Terminal. The one in terms of like new memes is Fart Coin. It's up like 75% today, but I feel like we've come full circle. Like, I just remember when shitcoins first came onto the stage, there's just the dumbest names possible for some of these tokens. It would be like Poop Coin, just dumb names. So for us to have Fart Coin at 75 mil, or 60 mil, I think it's just like complete full circle in extent for meme coins. So it's kind of funny that that trend's better than some of these like elaborately thought out meme.
Smartcoin was I didn't know it was a goat call. It was a truth terminal call. I didn't realize that. I was wondering why it was up so much. I never even looked at it honestly. I just saw people were up on it, but that makes sense to me now. Why the hell it ran so hard?
Yeah, Goat just keeps printing. I didn't realize the whole Truth Terminal thing, Jinzo, until you filled me in today in shitcoin chat. But yeah, it was conceived by Truth Terminal, so they just went with the community and ran with it.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about just in general, what do you guys think about this AI meta in terms of is it gonna last for a lot longer? Are we just always gonna have, like a segment now that's AI coins, kind of like how we have like a segment of like dog coins and cat coins? I think so for sure. Yeah, curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's here to stay. AI meta was always like gonna be eventually here. It was already starting to happen with a lot of the other companies, quote unquote companies that we see on other exchanges, and they were doing well and stuff. They had died down a little bit for a couple months now, going into September and October, but it was always going to be the next big thing, I think, and it'll be a mainstay. It just maybe it'll go through ups and downs, and has hype cycles like it always does between different metas. But I feel like even if it does die down, it's just going to come back in a couple months. It's just one of those things that it's always going to be here now. But we're not going to see the end of it. There's always going to be something.
Yeah, I totally agree with Jinzo. And I mean, I'm really interested in seeing how this meta develops because to your point, Jake, like I think Flavia, if it is actually legit, definitely has more of a case for like superior AI over GOAT. And I feel like previously in meme coin cycles, we've definitely seen the first mover advantage is what carries throughout the cycle, right? So it's like Whiff leads the way, maybe Moodang for a period of time. So I'm really curious if we're just going to start like going after the best AI as opposed to the one that led the cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. I totally agree with Jinzo and you though. Like I think we'll see cycles of it where it comes, it goes, comes back. But as long as people can continue to innovate into AI, like I could totally see scenarios where people create AI trading bots that do well, and then those trading bots with an actual success record launch coins, and then people just kind of go off of, wow, this is the best AI we have available. Let's just gravitate into that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but for sure, I think we're going to see AI narrative around for years to.
That being said, though, I still think memes are always going to be a leader. Like you can't. It's just like everybody likes to laugh. Everybody likes to associate to something, and AI is a little bit complicated for a lot of people. So that's why I think it's going to have its ups and downs. I mean, memes are going to be there forever. Sure, they're going to have their ups and downs too, but I think they're always going to be the leader. I think, like you said, like Whiff and Pepe or anything that has that you could actually associate yourself with, right? A group or whatever. I mean, I think that's always going to be the main thing that we're going to be, or the main thing that's going to lead meme coins really and shit coins.
Yeah, I will say to that point, the one thing about AI as a downside is like there is a lot less staying power, I would imagine. Like I'm expecting that we're gonna see a lot of these AI coins get slashed in coming days and weeks here. Just the ones that aren't making it, right? Because like if better AI comes out and it makes your previous AI incompatible or just like the older version, I don't really see what incentive people have holding it. So just seeing that we've already seen 3 to 5 AI coins launch very successfully this week, I feel like if more and more and more AI tokens come out, it's not like a meme coin where you're going to have a whole community based around it. Like people are always going to hold Whiff because it's cute and funny. But these AI coins with just weird names, I think a lot of them people are going to rotate into like the hottest, bestest AI. So I think there's probably a lot less staying power compared to the meme.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of it's forced too. Like, oh, it's a religion, and it's oh, look at this. It drew a diagram, and everybody's grasping at things that we're not going to care about in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like people are grasping at things like we see with any meta just to make things pump and to kind of find reasons to pump their own bags. But a lot of it is just fluff. I don't think it's gonna. I think a lot of it's not important at all, and I don't see how people can associate to something that's boring for so long. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. I think we're gonna go back to memes real soon.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be like 2 or 3 like main coins that do really well and like continue to do well. I think there's a lot of upside with AI coins. I know people are like super bullish on like Tau and like some other like VC coins, but I feel like it does make sense that like an AI like meme coin would do really well too. I mean, that's like what the biggest stock is Nvidia, right? And that's because they're like generating processor, they're like AI adjacent. Um, so I think people are really fiending for that, especially like TradFi stuff. So I think AI meme coins could certainly go crazy and like I have a lot more upside from here. Um, but like you guys were saying, I think it'll condense a bit into main runners, and I'm sure we'll have a new meta, within the next month or so, or who knows, like a week, or who knows like when it's gonna come, but I'm sure it'll switch and like attention will be off all these like AI betas. Like attention just switches so rapidly in crypto. But I do think as like a segment of like meme coins, you know how like there's like culture coins and there's dog coins or whatever, like maybe it's not the meta anymore, but there I think there's still going to be like a core group of AI coins that'll continue to do well um throughout the cycle.
Agreed. Yeah, a couple of them will survive, but the rest, like I mean, if you notice, people are just getting wrecked left and right playing betas, like we see with a lot of other metas before it. But I feel like people were getting less wrecked when it was cute animal meta than they are now. Like I mean, things weren't just pumping one shot to 10 million, coming right back down, which is kind of crazy. Like I mean, people need to be. I haven't played much of AI meta at all actually. After Goat, I played maybe a couple. And a couple of them, I just had to wait for them to come back to my buy point so I could sell again. A few of them I got wrecked on too, but I mean, I've been really careful because I just don't. First of all, a lot of them are scams, like we know. They're not real AI, or people are just trying to take advantage of this meta. But I've been very selective. I'm trying not to jump into everything, and if I do, man, I'm getting in and out real quick. You know what I mean? Right now, it's very easy to make a 2 or 3x, really easy, because coins are going from 100K to 2 or 3 million easily. If you're in the right coin, you can make a 10x. But make sure you're selling. You're not just, hoping it's the next GOAT, because you're never going to find the next GOAT. There is not going to be another a next GOAT. GOAT is what it is. You just need to make your money and move on. Like greed is a big problem, and I think if people get that in check, they can make good money even in this meta. It's just you got to be very careful and you got to be in and out quick. I think a lot of these are just not going to survive very long.
Jinzo, I heard a rumor that you've sent some Solana to an anonymous contract. Is that true?
Anonymous?
No, I'm just giving you just pulling your leg. I heard you did a pre-sale.
I did.
Totally
I know. I'm so against bringing that meta back, but last night it was one that Mad Foxy brought in, and I know that this is one that people were waiting for a while. It's Hannah. And the thing is, it's a Twitter with like barely any followers, but all the KOLs and Kabbalah was on it. So I'm like, man, I'll send 3 SOL to this, and I ended up collecting 6,000 SOL in a matter of like minutes, which is crazy because the maximum was 50 and nobody was talking about it. So it was really one of those like shadow pre-sales, and those are usually the best ones, right? So I told myself, okay, I'll just throw some SOL into this. But at the same time, I'm sitting here begging that the pre-sale meta doesn't come back, even though we all know that it will come back many times over, including now. I'm sure it's kicked off again, and we're going to see many pre-sales this week. So again, I'm going to warn people like I did last time we saw pre-sale meta, do not send money to each and every one. You probably shouldn't even send to any, especially the hype ones, because if everybody's buying in and there's no cap, you're just going to be someone else's exit liquidity. And I'm talking about the creator here. They're going to make all the money. So this one I felt decent about because it was quiet. But again, I can't. I hope this goes by quick if it does come back.
I totally agree, dude. And I mean, I think that was a great call on the Hannah token. I was bummed I was out getting ice cream rugged by boyfriend activities, but yeah, dude, I think that was a good play there. I definitely hope we don't see the meta, but to your point about greed, right? Like I feel like we're starting to see it come back into the market a little bit more. I definitely feel like greed was pretty synonymous with the last pre-sale meta that we had. Like Book of Meme absolutely cooked. So there was a few after that, some beta plays that pumped nicely for people. But then it was just like every person on Twitter with 10,000 plus followers was like, send money to this address. So it got crazy super fast. So yeah, I hope you absolutely cook on that. I'm sure you will, but please let's not go back to pre-sale meta.
Yeah, full agree there, boys. Yeah, anything else anything else in the docket that we can talk through here?
Change of the market conditions in general we can talk about. Like, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you had a hard time finding a coin to go over 10 million. Everything was ranging between the 1 to 5 million range. Nothing would really pump, but it feels like every day now we have more and more coins passing the 10 million mark easily. Like it's so easy to do. So, I mean, there's a play there, right? If you're paying attention to the market, you're getting the right coins, or even just in general, if you're in the market, you're going to have opportunity right now. You have to play safe and try to get into the right ones and try not to FOMO into everything. But I feel like the market is getting like it's heating up more and more by the day. And obviously, Goat brought in a lot of people that don't usually trade, and but I mean, it's nice to see that a lot of coins are getting to 10 mil, 50 mil, 100 mil. Like we've had a couple of 100 mil runners just in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, man, there's opportunity. Just stay focused and be like stick to your rules and make sure you take out your initials quick and stuff, and try not to buy in too late. Do some research before aping, just if you're not involved, you know what I mean, do the right things and you can make money. Just be very careful with what you do.
Yeah, great shout-outs. I think something similar that what I was preaching during Wake and Jake, like I think just like make sure staying liquid is huge. Like you said, Jinzo, taking on initials. It's something that I honestly like suck at. I keep preaching it. Like it's mainly just to like ingrain it in my own brain. I just like get pretty greedy and like I see like where the coins can go. So but then sometimes I'm just left like with like nothing. Um in like my account to use on like new plays, and I miss out on stuff, or like I'll have to sell something too early from when I want to get into another play, and then I don't know, then I like mess it up. So I don't like the play that I sold too early like really fully play out, and I miss like the uptrend and all that stuff. So I would just say like just try and like you said, Jinzo, like take out some liquidity on pumps. Especially you see a couple big green candles in a row, like that's usually the best time to sell. A lot of times, even if you are super bullish, you can re-enter on like a dip if you wanted to, like maintain that exposure and like then take a little bit off the table. But yeah, things just don't go up straight in a straight line most of the time, or at least not never ending. So kind of getting out, taking some profit, and then using it on a different play. I think the idea of opportunity cost is huge that a lot of people don't think about for trading. Like just having like the funds to take on a really good play when you see one, just the ability to do so is pretty huge.
Yeah, man, it took me 3 years to actually do it myself, and I've been preaching it for years. I was just getting greedy with myself and not staying true to myself. I just kept telling myself, man, this is a real problem. I got to start doing it. Like I got to stay liquid. And I did get better over time. And now I feel like I'm at the best position I've ever been to actually be like that, where I'm a little bit less emotional when I trade. Right, with time, I hope we all become less emotional in our trades and we start like trading just the right way. And sure, like I could sell things quick, like goat. I didn't keep the moon bag on the one that runs. Obviously, I mean, if I would have kept the moon bag, maybe it would have still been at 10 million. But that's how it goes. The one I decide to sell completely out of runs like crazy. Good, I got over it. Move on. You know what I mean? Make other plays. But it's just about not being greedy. It's the biggest thing. We all do it. It took me 3 years to finally listen to myself, and I've been telling people not to be greedy and not to and always be liquid and stuff. And it's just hard because there's so much going on. You tell yourself, okay, maybe if I put a little bit more liquidity into this one, you know what I mean? I could make it. I could make my 100 or 200 soul off one play, but many at bats is better than trying to go for home runs. So if you try to keep liquidity and you just keep swinging and making little plays and collecting a few soul with every play instead of waiting for that 200 or 300 soul hit, I mean, you're probably going to make more along the way. You're going to have more liquidity to play with because you're always trading. You're always buying, selling, and having liquidity coming back to your wallet to trade to the next big thing. Whereas if you just hold and hope for something to go from 1 million to 100 million, I mean, you probably missed out on a lot, and you probably held on to the wrong coin and you made less money because you were less safe. You became a moon boy basically on one coin.
I think that a thing that helps me like conceptually think about this, and like a really good example is if you just do the math, like 3 5x's in a row is actually more than 100 if you hit 100x, right? If you just kind of rolled over the same capital, which I wouldn't say like I recommend just like letting it ride every time. I think it's smart to do like set amounts, but just like conceptually, if you just hit 3 5x's in a row, um, and you just kept rolling it over, that would be 125x. So that just like shows the importance of taking profit and having liquidity to go on to the next trade instead of especially like in this type of market where there's so much opportunity out there. And I think it'll only grow if Bitcoin get to all-time highs and bring in a lot more people. If it stays hot like this, then I think liquidity is king.
Yeah, and I think just managing your funds in general, like if you're sitting, for example, if you're trading with 10 SOL, for example, and I'm sure people are trading with less than that, but I'm using this as a benchmark because it's easy. Like, for example, if I have 10 SOL in my wallet, I'm probably making one play SOLs or less. Like, that's just, actually, I like the one SOL threshold, but I'm always trying to stay at a low point because you don't need much to make your account or double your account. Think about it. If you're in a one SOL play and 5Xs, which we've been seeing often lately, it's taking you 2 plays to really get to double your account. So you don't need to be going all in. You don't need to be playing 3, 4, 5, 6 SOL because then you're basically you have less bullets to throw at projects or at coins or whatever, at shit coins. So I would say always keep it low. Even if your account grows, keep it low. I sometimes have 100 SOL in my account. I'm still trading between 1 and 5 SOL. I'm trying not to increase too much because you don't want to blow up. And it takes a couple of bad plays really to mess you up mentally and to make mistakes and to blow up your account. It happens, right? I mean, yeah, sure. Like for me personally, there's sometimes where I'll be like, oh, this is good. I like because I got with Tom, I know how to identify them. I did go way heavier on Flavia, but how many tokens did I see before I decided that it was actually the right time to go in? And what market cap did it actually hit? And what did I see? Like, what research did I do before actually deciding that it was good to go heavier? I did a lot of that before, you know what I mean, aping heavy into Flavia. But usually I'll test the waters with 1 SOL or 2 SOL and we'll see where it goes, right? But yeah, very rarely will I go more than half my wallet or all in. Like, I barely ever do that.
Yeah. I really like what you said there, Jinzo, about, just the research that you did and, the conviction that you had that led you to it. I think just going back to FOMO for a minute, it's really important to just be appreciating making money in this market, period, right? Even if you make $1, that's still profit. And I think it's just great perspective to always realize like how far ahead we are just by knowing about crypto. And that can sound kind of corny, but like I genuinely mean it. I've wrecked myself in the past personally just trying to keep up with the Joneses, which is like not the thing you want to do in crypto. But it's really easy when you're in shitcoin chats and you see people hitting 100x or 300x. Like when you feel like you missed out on something, that feeling of like, going back in time, oh man, what if I had put 5K in Go when it was first called out and I first saw it? I'd have all this money. I'm not going to miss the next one. And then you're going way above your risk portfolio. It happens so quickly sometimes because it's from a place of emotion. And like, that's the craziest part is that some of these feelings we have even when we're successful traders. Like, it can happen where we've made money the whole week, but then someone makes way more than that in a big trade. And suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to make a big trade too. So you put on like a hero size position. So just really trying to be cognizant of your emotions throughout the process is so important, and arguably more so in shitcoins because the fluctuations are so crazy, right? Like where else is someone going to hit a 300x in a day? At any of these coins, you're going to have an opportunity to do it, but you can't just like chase every single thing down the pipeline because you're going to wipe yourself out immediately. And you also don't want to get into a place where you're feeling like the market is against you. Like I know people jokingly say it, but you see so many people in chat who are like, "Oh man, I know if I buy this token, it's going to go down." And that genuinely is like reflecting a psychology that you might be feeling because of your emotional state. So if you feel like the market is against you and you're like cursed, where anytime you're buying a token, it's going to go down. I've certainly been there, but that's probably a pretty good sign to just like touch some grass and pump the brakes a little bit because that does not happen. There's no such thing as like a market going against one person at all. I would just take some time off and reflect if that's happening. So yeah, definitely take your time before going big on anything.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember like everyone has like set your own size for your own bankroll. Like don't pay attention to what other people are doing in terms of like how much they're putting in because it just depends. It's like it's gonna be different for everyone, like from person to person. So definitely don't go crazy on something. You saw someone else put in a bunch compared to what you would normally put in. Right. Just kind of base it on like a basically like a percentage of your own bankroll that you have to play with, not what someone else is doing.
And if you're early into shitcoins and you're not early, I mean, if you're new into shitcoins and you're playing, like you have to understand too, you're probably gonna lose your first few SOL you play with. So don't load up an account with too much right away. Play with a couple SOL just to test it out and see how the market moves and reacts. But it's not easy. A lot of people make it look easy, and the P&Ls make you think that it's super easy, but it's actually very hard, and you're gonna probably get wiped out a few times. I know I got wiped out my first 3 or 4 times trying shitcoins. It might have taken me 2 years to get good at shitcoins. I feel like now I finally have a handle on them, but for a while there, I didn't. I was losing every soul I was putting into my account. So it's just really, being safe with it and making sure that you're correcting your mistakes and learning from your mistakes, and just with time you'll get good at it. But sure, now it's very easy compared to what it was the last couple of years, but it doesn't mean you're not going to blow up your account. There's a lot of risk involved. So just go slow, load up a couple souls, see how it goes. And even if you load up something you're okay with losing, because you're probably going to lose it the first couple times, and then go from there. But don't go all in. That's not a way to do it.
Yeah, great shout. I can almost guarantee that if you are new to shitcoins and like whatever you like bridge over or whatever, like put it in your account, be like, all right, this is my shitcoin account. I can like pretty much guarantee that you're gonna lose it. And I mean that I know that like sucks to hear, but I feel like it's just like the cost of like tuition. Essentially, like it's gonna take time, in my opinion, like at least probably like a month or two of like being in the trenches to like really start to get a feel of like what's good and what's not. Maybe less than that if you're like really dedicated to it and you're like going after it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just takes time, like to like understand the market, understand like what things typically do well. And even then, like you're still probably going to lose most of your trades. Like understand bankroll management. I mean, all that stuff. So, I mean, I certainly did. Like when I bridged over, like, all right, this is what I was going to use for shit coins. Like, I definitely blew it up right away, or not right away, but like eventually, and then had to like deposit more. Um, but I learned a ton from it. Like, I think definitely was negative for a while, just tracking my P and L before I'd like hit some big ones. So, I think it just kind of like again like cost of tuition. You just got to understand that going in and not go crazy with your bankroll on it.
Yeah, that's great advice, Jake. I feel like something that helped me out a lot, and like I'm still trying to get the hang of it because it's been a few cycles of shitcoins. But what I think really helped me like take way fewer losses is just don't treat it like a casino. Like try to actually treat it like a research project to an extent. And just going back to what Jinzo said with Flavia and like knowing it was something special, really just try to target something that is um higher upside in your mind or like has a better narrative than others because it's really easy if you've like just got in and you lost some money that you're just like itching to get your money back. So you were just like looking actively for a play. And once you're in that mindset, your threshold of like what a play that you're going to take is just drops considerably, right? Then you might just defer to, okay, someone just sent this Twitter in shitcoin or this token in shitcoin chat, and they're just like pinging a token and they said, I got in, and then you're just following other people. And again, they have like a completely different bankroll than you. They might have a completely different strategy than you. So if you're just getting in, I would try to wait for the stuff that seems like it's better probability. So wait for a new meta to emerge, get like an early beta play. Stuff like, Curtis, when Ape Chain just came out, seemed like a really great play because you had Ape Chain talking about it and the chain was like an hour old. So something like that is really great risk reward because you have just like a lot of time left on that. But for some of these tokens, like the AI stuff that's already run a bunch, I definitely think it could run a lot higher, but to get in now is not the best risk reward. So I would really just be super selective when you're starting. Doesn't mean you're always going to win, but you're at least not going to blow yourself up as much if you just like take every.
Uh, yeah, I wanted to address to kind of get into more specific stuff. Van Squeed wanted us to talk about Russell. I think that's topical. I'll share my screen here 1 second. But yeah, you can see my fumble here. Jeets took over already. On Russell. I kind of wanted to go through my thought process in case it was helpful for anyone. Um, but yeah, I definitely have not traded this well, but at the same time, it's not as bad as what it looks. Anyway, yeah, like got in on Russell early with these buys. If you're looking at the screen, um, and obviously it kind of just bled. I still like have very much believe in the narrative. I think like Brian Armstrong's dog is probably going to be a very good coin as long as it's the correct name. Um, so I believed in it for a while, and then it kind of just bled out, and this was just like lack of liquidity. So I sold some here. This was specifically to get into another play. It wasn't just to like sell because I was capitulating. This was to get into ape chain stuff and bridge more over, which worked out really well at the time. So I wasn't even like mad about that part of it. Um, and then I think this was a little bit more for ape chain stuff. And then I sold yesterday for Flavia, and that worked out well too. But unfortunately, like my whole thought process was, all right, I'm going to sell. I'm still very bullish on this position, but I'm going to sell right now with the idea that I can buy back around like the same price within a day or two, hopefully for like this quick Flavia play with whatever profits I use. Unfortunately, like timing wise, just didn't work out. I mean, bled for like 2 weeks, and then we got a big tweet that pumped it up a bunch, and I played it pretty poorly, I would say, with my like rebuys. Like I was like, all right, I can't. I obviously, I like definitely still believe in this narrative. I can't be not exposed. And I think I just jumped the gun a little too early with these like early buys right here, especially. Um, I think like thought process was like, oh, what if Brian responds and then it like just continues to go crazy? Like this is the moment for it. But I should have thought like, all right, like it's pretty liquid coin. Someone bought up a bunch. Like it's already like what it was like 1.5, so it already was like I don't know, like 5x or whatever from where 5 to 6x from where it was like just like a minute ago. So there's probably gonna be a ton of people taking profit, and it's like it might be like decently unlikely that he doesn't respond, or at least it takes a little while for him to respond if he does respond. In which case it could bleed out. And I didn't really think about it enough through that lens. It was until like this point or so. Here, I'll go to like 1 minute. It's a little better. It was until like here, and I was like, all right, I should probably like hold off on my DCAs. So I kind of waited for a couple more red candles, and then I got in, and it was still like I should have waited a little bit until we started to get a little bit more upswing, until I should have really like sent it ideally. Um, but yeah, hopefully that was the bottom here around like 3, and we can go back up. It could just continue to bleed. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that was helpful or not. But that was kind of like my thought process on this, even though and like how I played it, I'd say relatively poorly. But I still feel good about it. I'm not like too upset. I think it still has a lot of promise.
More
Yeah,
than Curtis.
Thanks for sharing that, Jake. I like the thought process a lot. And I mean, just going back to like high probability setups, I remember when you first called out Russell, I definitely looked into it a little bit and then decided to follow. And it was a really great play in like initial days of it. And I definitely do agree with you. Like once we get confirmation on that dog's name, if it is actually Russell, then the token will probably just explode. But yeah, I mean, it was a great play, right? Founder of a chain dog, like that's successful or historically very successful. So really appreciate your thought breakdown there.
Yeah, I think along those lines of like why I was, I guess, bag holding into the bleed too was that like I thought, at least thought something like this would happen. Like if we did ever get confirmation, I think we'd get a lot bigger candle than what this was. And this was just like the truth terminal like mentioning it to him, and it like immediately like 5 or 6x, right? So like you didn't really have a chance to get entry at that point. And I think same thing, like if he were to like confirm it or whatever, or if like someone around him were to confirm it, or we just basically got any type of like second confirmation, then I think it would go. We'd get like even bigger candle than that, and like you really wouldn't have a chance at entry unless you're just like absolutely locked in. So that was kind of my thought process. I'm like not worried about it now. I'm just like, all right, it's there. I might even put it in a different wallet so I don't have to look at it and think about it in my Bull-X. I probably should have done that last time. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking through.
All we need is one tweet, but Brian's being a little bit hard headed there.
Hopefully we get it. We'll see.
Dude, I was thinking about that. Like, what must his perspective in all of this be? He just wants a sliver of privacy. People are barraging him asking for his dog's name. I wonder if he's like, I don't want to support this kind of degenomics, but he's also in crypto. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he's just like, fine, my dog's name is Russell. Like, are you happy now? And now you know.
This doesn't want to be the reason sit coins run and people lose money or whatever. You know, like he knows how this works, and I think he just doesn't want to have a hand in it, and that's all it is.
Yeah, he probably just doesn't want to be involved, but I think it's like it probably is like at that point where it almost feels like he might capitulate, but we'll see.
Yeah, the guy he can't be a hypocrite either. I mean, he launched base and there's all kinds of shit coins on base, but don't be a hypocrite. Just give me your dog's name.
Yeah, now that he shared the picture of the dog, he kind of was opening up for it. Yeah, we're 10 minutes over an hour now. I mean, I can keep going, but if we have anything else to talk about. But
Any
yeah, I guess
questions from
open
the
it up.
crowd?
Yeah, you guys have any questions or like stuff you guys want us to talk about or like anything?
Any
Open forum.
strategy? Could be anything. Just throw us some questions or something. We can help you guys out.
Jinzo, why do you not think GOAT's going to go to the next couple billion with A16 and these douches pumping it?
Why wouldn't it? I mean, it could. I was just hating on it because I sold and I didn't want it to get to a couple billion because I have
Fair.
and I didn't want to miss out on 1,000x. But I mean, I think it could. It has the best chance right now to get there, and it's from a lot of strength. It's eaten every dip. I mean, it's looking good, honestly. Like now I got over it, so I could be more honest about it. But it's looking good. It's looking good for good holders. Silver's gonna own a couple private jets by the next week.
I went from 12 to 20 million, so don't cry for me, buddy.
Yeah, she sounds so much like this. Oh, sorry, Jake. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say crazy strength on GOAT. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, A16 is always investing in crypto and shit. They bought a bunch of fucking apes and stuff early on. This is their pump, obviously. They're getting their other finance dudes into it. I don't know. If whiffs at 1 billion, 1.2, bonks at over 1 billion, I guess this thing can go.
Hey, bro, that's looking a little bit better than mine. I can tell you. You see your first green and red circles? That's me. And you have some a little later, which is good. Like I sold literally 20 minutes before it did a 10x and never expected.
Yeah, I did like a 10x in a day, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll sell the fact that it just went 10x in a day, and it just kept going. It's brutal.
If I knew though, like I was busy with hunting and stuff, and I really wasn't in chat as much, even though I was popping in, I wasn't researching at all. I bought gold early. It was trending sideways. I'm like, whatever. I got to trim some bags. Let me just trim this because it's not doing anything. But I had never known about the A16Z part. If I knew about that, I would not have sold a single token. I would have just been like, yo, well, let me forget about this for a couple of weeks. But I didn't know about that. So I found out the next day when I sold. And even then I was tilted. So I just didn't buy back in. It was in the 70, 80 million range, almost hitting 100. And I was just like, nah, look, I sold at 7. There's no way I'm buying this high, and 99% of the time I would have been right. Most coins don't go much further than that, but nah, this was that 1% chance there.
Does everyone know what like a goat sees is?
I do.
That's just like when I saw that coin, I told my buddy, like, yo, buy some. And he's like, why? I'm like, because it's memey as shit, but it's gross. I gotta get out. So we talk about the top coin. What about shit like Nub or Brainlit or in the low range, right? Like I guess 10 to 20 million. Any ones you like down there? Anything you're looking at? Is that like a breakout range where 10 million will you put 10 soul plus into the investment per se versus your normal 5? Or
for me, for some of those, go ahead, Jake. I'll chime in after.
Yeah, I was just say, yeah, those ones I'd probably be more comfortable putting more in because it's more established. When it's like 10, 20 million area, like it usually has gone through quite a few dips, for the most part, unless it like instantly ran up that much. And it's a little more worrisome. I mean, that's when I got in Flavio was like 12 million, I think, average or so. And that was right away. That's more of a unique case just because I was so bullish on the actual team. But I mean, yeah, like, I mean, it just depends. I don't usually like think a crazy amount about like I don't have like a crazy rule, I'd say, based on like specific market cap of a coin. It's more so just like how much I think it can go up from where it is and like how I guess convicted I am on whatever like the story is behind the coin. Because I think like it depends a bit on like what the market is like too. Like for instance, Flavia. If this was like a month ago, like I would not have felt nearly as convicted to be able to like ape that much on a brand new coin like at 12 million or whatever. Because it just like wasn't nearly as hot of a market. But I've already seen now like there's been so many AI coins, in particular like a lot of like beta stuff to go that have ran to like 60, 50, 60, even 100 million, that were like worse narratives. So I felt a lot more comfortable after seeing like previous runners that weren't as qualified. So that's kind of how I'm thinking through it a bit.
Yeah, Ranch, I would say like honestly, the money is possibly better spent on some of the newer narratives. I know you said Nub as an example. It just really depends on like if you think the community is still there or not. Because the thing about shitcoins is that it just gets so saturated. Like I would say when we were trading NFTs, the projects that reached blue chip status attained it and stood there. But I don't really think that's necessarily the case with shitcoins as much because they rotate so much. So like you still do see those blue chips, right? Pepe, Whiff, like I don't think those are going anywhere. But something like Nub, where it had a lot of potential but lost it, I think the people who are still holding that token are pretty likely to sell and recoup a lot of their initial investment, especially if they're down into a pump, versus if it's a shiny AI token, you're going to be able to attract a lot of new buyers and going into it. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, but to Jake's point, like I would just treat everything as where is it at right now and then where can it go? And with just a lot of stuff that like is still down, even with the market being so hot, like I don't necessarily know if that's somewhere I'm looking to be like, well, this is just going to go 10x, right? Like I don't really see a catalyst where people are going to suddenly be like, we love Nub again. Like I think a lot of it is just kind of come and gone.
For me, I'm a little bit on the other side of that. I mean, Nub, I feel like it's underachieved, so that's probably a negative for me. But you can look at it two ways. Either it's underachieved so far and it'll eventually have its day in the light and it'll pump and catch up to a lot of these other memes because whoever's running that account is doing a fantastic job. Like he's always replying to everybody. Everybody knows about Nub. Like it's one of those that eventually if it pumps, everybody's gonna be like, my God, I can't believe I got into that. I didn't get into that, even though it was so obvious because of how much work they're putting in. And also the one thing to look at when you're looking at these coins, like these meme coins that are trending for a long time in the same range, keep an eye on the holder count. Is it increasing? I mean, it should be. That's why it's in that range and it hasn't dipped yet. If the holder count is steadily increasing, eventually it's going to have its rise. I mean, that's what happened with Fog for months. Sure, it was a different market, but Fog was in the same range forever and ever and ever. And then all of a sudden, that's all you'd see on the market on their timeline is this little frog all the time. It's, I mean, in hindsight, everybody should have been in Fog. It was just so obvious. All the big names were pushing it. Everybody was buying the coin, but it just wasn't moving yet because I guess sell pressure. There were so many people that were up on it. And eventually the holder count got to a point where it was a tipping point and it just started going crazy because of the memes behind it and stuff. So I felt like that about Brainlet too, but I was a bit less confident in it. I bought some and it didn't really go as I expected and I needed liquidity. So I did sell out of that one. Just because of so many other better plays, I think, than Brainlet, even though it's a good meme. But Nub, I could see doing well one day just because of how active the guy is, always replying to every tweet. There's always some kind of meme with the Nub itself. I mean, I'm not crazy about the art, but I mean, that's what's appealing about it is the fact that it's nothing special, but you can do so much with it. And I can see why people like it. It's just one of those that have underachieved. And I think that if it does pump, people are going to be like, not even surprised by it.
Yeah, it's just tough because like I'm watching Jake bringing up the chart, and I definitely agree with what you're saying, Jinzo. And I love your point of watching the holder count go up. But like something that kind of changed the way that I look at charts is just imagining who is profitable, who is not profitable. So whatever the price of Numbat is right now, the only people are in profit are the people who bought in under that price point, right? And like if you look at the chart, most of the people have bought at higher prices than this. So there's just so many people who are underwater right now on Nub. And you can see going back in like October where it got that initial pump, it was very shortly lasted. Like it reached that local top level of August where it put that up and then rejected off of that. So you really do need to bring it back up. Like either people just doubling down in their conviction, finding new money and putting that in, or like you were saying, like a ton of new holders and bringing Nub back to life. So I do agree. Like there's something about consistency of meme. The creator of Nub's never given up. They just keep posting and posting and posting. But just understanding from like a structural perspective that most people on this chart are now in the red, that to me makes it a little bit harder for this thing to like, come out of the hole that it's in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Again, though, like I completely agree with that. That's actually a really good point. But it launched in April. Like, I mean, if this thing would have launched now or even a month ago, it probably would have been much higher than it is now. It just launched in the wrong market. But I mean, it's still, to me, it's still impressive that it's at 18 million. And it's been at 18 million all this time. It hasn't dipped much more than like, let's say 15 or whatever. I can't really tell what that line says, but You know what I mean? Like, and it's increasing in holders. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a holder, but it's one of those that to me always felt a little weird that it didn't go much better and it didn't pump. So if it ever does, I won't be surprised. Like, I mean, it's one of those longer term plays that you can park some extra soul in. Maybe it does something, maybe it comes lower, but really, what's the downside from here? It's already depleted and it's been months that it's never trended under 18 million. So in a hot market like now, I don't see why it would really go much lower. So it just those are what I look at. I mean, I completely get it. There's a lot of people that bought much higher. But if they do the right things, maybe they get newer money in. Who knows?
Actually, hey guys, how we doing?
What up, Aslo?
Yo.
Hey, I actually have an opinion on this in case it's worth something. I made a bag off of Nub and it was there from day zero. And I actually held a moon bag up until recently. And I think one specific point that Ross, you pointed out earlier is I think where my head is at here, which is I agree with you 100%, Jinso, that this is a good fundamental project, right? They have like really, really good, really, really good Twitter presence. I think it's really smart and funny, to be honest with you, but that's subjective, of course. The problem is I couldn't predict when something was ever going to happen. And I think, Ross, you alluded to that. And so when I look at that and I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be a month from now. I don't know if it's going to be 6 months from now. I don't know if it's going to be 12 months from now. And that's at an 18 million market cap. And Russell is sitting there at a $3 million market cap. And I have a feeling that's, likely going to be sooner than that. It just becomes an automatic trade-off, like an easy trade-off at that point, right? Which is why am I holding Nub at this point for some catalyst that I cannot predict, even if it may go up at some point,
Depends on what you're looking for, I guess. It also depends because it's different chains, so there's a lot of different dynamics at play there. But yeah, if you're looking to get quicker pumps, that's not the play for you, right? Like, I mean, the only reason I even got into swag all those months ago is because the market was kind of dry and I was on vacation, and I told myself, I think in a few months this coin is going to be much higher, so I bought it. You know what I mean? I wasn't looking to play, so it depends on the person. Like, if you only have a small amount of soul or whatever, a small amount of liquid, and you're looking to roll that into big, and you have time to put in, obviously I wouldn't be buying Nub. But if you're looking to, for example, look for a long-term play, maybe it is a good play. It's one of those that you need to determine for yourself, right? But even for longer term, I think there's better plays than just Nub.
I didn't realize how high Nub got initially. It's crazy. 150 or 60 or so.
Oh yeah, it was hot.
I think if I were to play something like this and it's like, sorry, my Telegram's going off. If I were to play something like this, like it's certainly going to be a long-term play. You can just tell. I mean, this is the 4-hour chart. And it just hasn't like shown a ton of strength. I would probably look for it to kind of break this downtrend. It's like at new lows, like we're at as we speak on this downtrend still. So like that could still last for like, I don't know, another like week or two before it even like starts to reverse. I'd like want to see some type of like strength forming before getting in, personally, because I think it could go lower than what it is now, or it could just like level off. Like I don't see any type of like huge reversal happening. Or if there is, then there's usually you can probably get in on a decent dip. But I don't know. I see like a lot of this stuff, even if you are like super bullish on it. Again, like opportunity costs, like having liquid tied up. Like this is a play that I think would take a long time. At least like relatively speaking to other like shit coins, to actually play out. So I like to like factor that, like the time version, I think is a really important thing to factor into analysis of like buying stuff. Like what is the opportunity cost of locking up that soul for however long a time when you could use it on other stuff in the meantime. Like maybe you can get a similar entry like in a couple weeks, anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with that time perspective. And going back to your point, Aslo, I mean, completely agree, right? If you don't know where the catalyst is going to be coming, you're in a position where you're hoping something is going to be happening. Where if you can like take a look at the rest of the space, there's stuff that you don't really have to hope for as much. Like everything is still going to be probabilities and risk reward. But if you look at like just the past week, there was lots of AI plays that you could take. And it wasn't like, well, I hope something is going to happen. It already just happened. And then you as a trader can react and say, hey, I'm going to get in now and know that there's going to be a lot of volatility. Whether you get in at the right point or not, TBD, but you know that there's going to be volatility and price fluctuations, which is what you want. So yeah, when you're looking at a chart like this, I don't really know what the next pump is going to be on Nub. I don't know if someone's going to come and dump it or if there's like going to be a big announcement, but for that stuff, I view it as very like random. I don't really think there's a accurate way for you to forecast unless you know something. If you have a thesis, it's different. But for this project, if it's just someone's continually posting memes and you're thinking, well, hey, at some point there could be a big buyer, that's a big like hypothetical. So I'm more inclined to stuff that's like happening in real time because I think it's better use of your capital. But again, everyone's different, and if you are more interested in like long-term thesis, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Ape Chain update. Gordon posted all the stuff that he bought today. Gordon Goner said he bought Pape, Curtis, CIF, Board, and FAFO. Look around, find out. I'm pretty sure is what that stands for.
Please, Gordon, buy my bag.
Carry on. If there's nothing else, I think we can at least wrap up the show portion. Obviously, can keep chopping it up.
Any other questions out there?
How much goat does Silva have?
That's the question we all want to know, but we probably won't get an answer to.
We'll see when he sells.
I've been itching to ask him too, but out of respect, I haven't. I'm just gonna see if ever he posts the P&L one day, and I'm just gonna congratulate him, and it'll be that.
Are you guys planning on playing Flavia from here? Any dip buying?
I'm properly allocated, so I'm not buying anymore. I'm kind of just waiting
same here.
out.
Exactly, same
I
here.
think next catalyst is like just the actual bot doing something, starting to tweet and maybe starting to trade. I'm not sure what the plan is, but then kind of just like analyze from there what happens.
Yeah, I'll probably sell some at 75, some at 100, but I'm like Dick said, I'm allocated and I'm not looking to add right now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I see that the breakout of this range happened around 42 million, so I was thinking of maybe buying a little dip there, maybe getting to 30 if we get it, but I think it's probably got another leg up in it, just given the potential there with the founder. So holding a little hope on that.
Sir, let's see here. Exit out. Well, thank you all for coming. That's it for me at least. But appreciate you guys. Jinzo, Ross, Ranch, Aslo, everyone who Squeeb, everyone who contributed to the conversation today. Obviously can continue however long as we want here in MVHQ, but as far as the show goes, I think we can probably wrap it up around here.
Thanks, guys. That was fun. Can't wait for next.